God specializes in making those things that seem impossible, possible, becoming free by freeing yourself of false thoughts. The word for today comes from Romans chapter 12 verse 2 of the biblical text. And be not conformed to this world, but ye be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And now, please stand for prayer.
Thank you, O Infinite One, Almighty, all-powerful Creator. Thank you today. We thank you as a family that you are there for us. And we request your ear, your heart, your time, this moment, this second, this season. Thank you that I am a child of light. I thank you that I am strong in your wisdom. That I am strong with your understanding. That I am a prayer warrior than a prayer warrior. I thank you today that I am blessed and highly favored. I pray today that my words will carry the authority necessary to change the lives of those who may feel robbed, or for those who may feel lost, confused, or abandoned. I am blessed abundantly. I am blessed abundantly for knowing you, Infinite One. I thank you that I have abundant health and strength and guidance and protected by you. And that by knowing that I am highly favoured and blessed by you, that my friends and my family can also share in the abundance of wisdom that you give us today. I am blessed. I am whole. I am complete. I am healthy. I am loved. I am part of your family. Thank you.
Thank you for your love. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy that is new every day.
Usually at this time I give remarks and talk about the week that's happened, and this week is no different. I want to talk a little bit about speaking out, speaking up. An important yet very empowering thing to speak out. Speak out for those things, those injustices, those things where you feel are not right, where you feel either hard done by, or feel that you've not been treated in the correct manner. Or even if it's to speak up, to say, to question something, that something isn't always what it may seem. This last week has been amazing and blessed in the sense that if I didn't speak up, certain blessings and abundances would not be there. For example, the other day my wife and I were sitting down and we were going through some paperwork, and she showed me some paperwork. I said, "This doesn't look quite right." She said to me, "Yeah, I'm not sure. This is not the agreement that we had originally." I said, "Yeah, I know. So what do you think is the issue? I said, I'm not sure. So I said, well, I think you need to look into it further. I said, we could keep quiet and sit back and not do anything about it, or we can speak out and find out what the problem is. Now, by communicating, there was something that was causing my wife to feel uncomfortable in a respectful manner and saying, no, I don't accept what's been put on the table, or no, I don't accept the way you're treating me, or no, I'm not just going to take whatever you've given me like a dog. I'm going to look at what's been offered on the table. I'm going to consider all things with wisdom, knowledge and understanding in a godly manner and say, okay, this weighs up with pros and cons, this is good, this is not good, or this is blessed, this isn't so blessed, and move forward. So happens as my wife discerned the situation, she spoke to me for counsel, she went back to the source and discovered that it wasn't actually the source that was the root of the problem in the first place. That through discussion and not jumping to conclusions, she discovered that there was a third party involved. I say as much to say this. We must not be afraid to speak out. If we've been offended, the only way a situation can be rectified is if we speak up about it. Whether that be offended by a friend, a colleague at work, somebody in the church, customer service. If we do not speak out and speak up and say, hey, you offended me there, that person at that particular time, that group, that organisation believes that their behaviour is acceptable and they will continue doing what they do to somebody else. It's your responsibility when faced with this scenario and situation to ask yourself the question, why is this happening to me? I'll tell you why it's happening to you. Because you have been blessed to be put in a position to speak up. You've been blessed in a position to open the door for others. You have been put in a position to speak up for those who are not strong enough to speak up. On a larger scale of things, what would have happened if Martin Luther King never spoke up? What would have happened if Muhammad Ali didn't speak up? What would happen if Bob Marley decided not to sing the songs that he did and speak about freedom and justice and equality? What would happen if people didn't speak up? The same people that inspire you today, that decided to, whether it be into entertainment, act, sing, dance, they had to make a decision at some point to speak up, to say to that person, you know what, I'm going to follow my dreams. Regardless of what you think, I'm going to follow my dreams. I'm going to speak out, I'm going to speak up. No, that's not right. I went to a restaurant and the food was cold. I went to a restaurant, I was not treated correctly. You are important. You are important. So my message to say to you today is, speak up. And if you can't speak up by yourself, find somebody who will speak up with you. Speak to an organisation. Rally round. Get friends and family involved. If you have no friends and family, what a great time to start building. Don't be alone. Speak up and speak out.
I come to you by divine inspiration. In the name of the I am that I am, the transcendent reality, the omnipotent, omnipresent, the absolute truth and the indwelling spirit that is with each one of us. And I would like to greet you in peace, love, and light. I want to start out today's message by first of all telling you that you are not a mistake. No matter if your parents did not intend to have you, you're not a mistake. You were in the mind of the Creator. You were a conscious thought on the Creator's mind. You were thought of eons before you were actually born into this dispensation of time. And with that being said, today I want to talk about what seems to be the impossible dream. See, a lot of times, many of us have this idea in our mind. We have this burning passion or desire that is within us to accomplish something in our lives. And we go through life no matter what it is we do, whether we work a job at a McDonald's, whether we work at an insurance company, whether we're doing athletic coaching, regardless of what it is, there is usually that one thing that's within each of us that is a burning passion and desire. And no matter how far away from that we get, we're always being brought back to that burning desire that is within. So I want to talk about or name that the impossible dream. Because sometimes that passion or that burning desire within us sometimes seems like an impossibility. But we know that all things are possible through God. Now, it's interesting because we hear this small, or what appears to be small, quiet, still voice within. And it continuously lights the fire of that passion within us. All the while, the world, the people that we meet, whether it's our parents, whether it's our sisters, our brothers, whether it's friends, whether it's teachers, we sometimes interface with people that speak in contrary to that small, still voice within. And so we get confused sometimes thinking that that voice is a lie, and the voices that we hear externally are the ones that's the absolute truth. So then we think that what we feel inside is an impossible dream. You know, but what I want to do is draw your attention to that passion that is within you, that you can never seem to get away from no matter what it is you do. It seems to be a constant nagging thought in your heart and in your mind. And we get so far caught up in doing all of these other things that we ignore that which is within us. We might hear things like, you don't have enough experience to do that. You might hear things like, well, what qualifies you to do that? You might hear things like, well, you have to go get a degree to do that. You hear all sorts of things. And then you'll have these other obstacles that come your way that will pull you even farther away from that. And the minute you begin to move closer to that seemingly impossible dream, then all of a sudden all the things that you thought you wanted before, you decided to just come right on back to what you really want to do, then all of a sudden those other doors open. And then it distracts you once again from what it is you started out wanting to do. And so you think, now, I can finally get this. I've been wanting to do that. But the minute you refocused and went back to the core or the essence of who you are, all these other doors that were closed to you all of a sudden began to open. You have to ask yourself why. So I want to get into today this dream that you have within you. God didn't make a mistake when the one made you. And that burning desire or that passion that is within your heart is that thing that most likely you were born to do. And when you were born to do it, you were also given the tools necessary to effectively do that. There's a biblical text that says, and I believe it's in Romans, it says, "Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed in the renewing of your mind, that you can prove what is that good and faithful will of God." I want to draw your attention to that because oftentimes when God is communicating with us in the many different ways that God communicates with us, we sometimes quiet that voice and begin to listen to all of these other voices that is in direct contrary to that voice within. But the scripture says that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So if we believe that and we stand true to that, then when we hear that quiet, still voice within, which is only confirmed by what's outside of us. So in other words, what I mean by that is when we hear things from other people that don't sit right with us, 9 times out of 10, it's not right. But sometimes we work so hard because we want to believe other people, you're no good. We want to believe them, and we do, because we're so quick to believe the worst in each other than to believe the best. And there's 2 words that I want to keep on the table today as we have this discussion. And one fell on the floor, so excuse me for a moment. But one of the words is appreciation. See, sometimes we run into people that we deem to be worthy of adoration. And we run into people that we feel are like these giants in whatever field that, or wherever our passion is. We deem them to be these very important people. But what happens sometimes is these people that you deem to be so important, when they see you, there's no equal value. And they come to the table sometimes with this air about them that they are better. And then unconsciously, you begin to interface like you're not good enough or that they are better. But the interesting thing is, you're not the tail, you're the head. And by the grace of God, you're the head and the CEO of your life. And when you begin to listen to that quiet, still voice within, and you listen to that burning passion that is within you, and you begin to cultivate and nurture all of those wonderful things that is within you, you'll begin to feel worthy. Because some of you who's listening to this message, you feel that you're not worthy. Some of you who are listening feel that you don't measure up or you're not good enough. Some of you who's listening are wondering, where do you fit in? Where am I supposed to be? But the biblical text says that your gift will make room for you. So if you are running to and fro and you're finding yourself not finding your place, that means that you have not discovered your purpose in your life. Because once you discover the purpose and the reason for you being, and once you identify what you are born to do, you will begin to find meaning in your life as you cultivate and nurture that. And you begin to walk in the path of your purpose. Oftentimes, we believe those voices outside of ourselves and we begin to walk down a path that was not for us in the first place. And so then we find ourselves catching hell on that path because that's not where we were supposed to be going in the first place. We'd allowed someone or something to distract us, or we allowed our lower self to get the best of us. Because the first battle before you battle anything is the battle within self. It's the battle between your lower self and your higher self. And your purpose dictates that you have to surrender to your higher self. Because as you surrender to your higher self, you're surrendering to the God and the reason for you being here in the first place. The other word I want to put on the table is gratitude. So appreciation and gratitude are things that you have to practice, but it's also things that people who interface with you have to practice. Let me give you an example. You're helping to take care of your spouse's parent. And this parent is significantly older than you, of course. They need help. And it does take a village, not only for children, but it takes a village. We are all family. And a functional family helps one another. And it's not about condemnation and judgment, because we all at some time and point in our lives need somebody to lean on. And as the scripture says, lean not on our own understanding. So, and then our ways are not necessarily God's ways, but the key is to work on becoming godlike. So going back to, just say you're a spouse, you're a stay-at-home spouse, and you work at home, and your partner works outside the home. So you're doing a lot of the cooking, a lot of the cleaning. You're helping to take care of your in-laws or what have you. Now see, the person who is the recipient of your service, because you're not serving them, you're serving God, should be appreciative and should be grateful. And what appreciation looks like, even if the food doesn't come the way you like it, is thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You know, I like this. I'm not too keen on that, but I do like that. That tastes really good. Thank you so much for providing that for me. Ungratefulness looks like, this don't taste good. I don't like this. Or you treat the person who God has placed in your midst to help you like they're unworthy because they don't work outside the home. They're not making money. That's because they're not getting paid for the work that they're doing. See, most things that any of us do, if we're not sitting on our backside during the course of a day, if we're using our creative ability or our intellectual abilities, or if we are contributing in any way or any fashion, we are working. And the scripture says that a man who works eat. A man who does not work shall not eat. But the bottom line is, regardless of how you work that out within the context of your family or within the socialization circle that you're in, everyone makes a contribution. So everyone must be appreciated for what they do. Everyone must show gratitude for the blessings that they receive. Because when you show appreciation and gratitude, you're blessed more. So now you're probably asking, what does that have to do with the impossible dream? Well, if God gives you a gift, and that gift is a talent or something within yourself. It shows dishonor and disrespect not to, first of all, even use the gift that you've been given and not share it with the world, because you were born into the world with a gift, a talent, and a purpose, and that is to be shared with the world to benefit yourself, your family, your community, your nation, and the world. If you're not doing that, let me tell you what happens. You feel unhappy. You lose your joy. You wonder what your worth is. You're wondering if you're even important. You don't have meaning in your life. You just feel like you're locked in or claustrophobic. Those are all symptoms in the spiritual realm of not using your gift. Because when you are using your gift, when you are cultivating your gift, you find joy even in the simplest of things. You find happiness just being able to do what you're doing, because that's what you were born to do. Now I'm going to tell you something. Everybody doesn't agree with what it is you may be called to do. And there was a situation where I was really working to cultivate my gift. I was working to be obedient to the God and really to tap into my purpose and walk in purpose regardless of the struggle. My desire to be and do what God called me to do was greater than the struggle of getting to the point of actually sharing it. And I got so much flack. I've had people tell me, go get a real job. I've had people tell me, it's good that I can sit at home all day and do this and this and this, and I'm not out working. I am not confused at my calling. And many of you are not confused of your calling, but the importance is you have to be courageous to step out on faith and do what your calling is regardless, because God is not going to forsake you. So the whole idea behind this message is sometimes what seems to be an impossible dream. See, God takes what seems impossible and makes possible. I want to say that again, and I know there's a song out there that goes something like, God takes the impossible and make it possible. See, that's what's called a miracle. So whatever it is that you are called to do in your life, regardless of how many people tell you you can't do it, no matter how many people tell you you're not qualified to do it, no matter how many people tell you that doesn't make sense, you are a lion. And I want you to be that lion and be courageous to stand in your truth. Be courageous to stand in your truth, because there is no such thing as an impossibility when it comes to God. God makes all things possible. Okay, let me just wrap it up here. And I want to say this to those who are dreaming, who seem like their dreams are impossible. And the name of the song that I wanted to quote is God Specializes. So the question is, have you any rivers that you feel are uncrossable? And have you any mountains that you cannot tunnel through? If this is the case, God specializes in those things that seem impossible. Now, God has the power to do what no other power is capable of doing. But get this, you gotta go within yourself. So, to those dreamers, continue to dream and cultivate those gifts and talents that are within you so that you can manifest your dream into a tangible reality. And for those dream snatchers, find your dream so that you're not so focused on someone else's that you neglect your own soul and your own self. All of us are equipped with a gift and a talent. The question is, will you cultivate your talent? Because there is absolutely nothing that's impossible if you believe it. You can make that dream a reality. And I know you see the rains or hear the rain. That's blessings coming down. And so without any further delay, I would like to thank you for listening. and know that all things are possible. It's a matter of transforming your thought process and unlocking the power of your heart and your mind. And the only prison that you're in is the prison of your own mind and heart. So free yourself so that you can manifest your dream into a tangible reality. Thank you for listening as I greet you in peace, love, and light. Thank you.
Thank you, Atiya, for another blessed, inspirational message. What did I get from that message myself? It just goes back to the fact that we have to be careful who we listen to in this world. Who we listen to, the people we listen to, the people we approve of. Are they, first of all, approving of us? Do they believe in us? Do they trust in us? A lot of people are out there in the world that will listen to anybody and everybody, seeking the approval of this person and that person. Yet at the end of the day, you seek their approval, you do what they want, but when it comes for time for you now to get some support, they're the ones that are going to chop down your tree. It's all about self-value, which brings me back to a point that it's always important to have self-value. It's very important to protect ourselves in these times. But some would say, okay, I heard the message today. I heard what you were saying, Atiya. I heard, that it's important for me to look within. I heard it's very important for me to believe in my dream and to believe in myself and to go within. But how do I do that? And so I'm here to announce that from next week we'll be talking about the armour of God. The armour of God will be a 3-part series. It might even be a 4-part series. Who knows? A 3-part series. See, when you get into a car, you put on a seatbelt to protect you. Belt goes over you. I know some people drive out a seatbelt, that's dead. But generally, you put your seatbelt on. Put the baby in the back of the car, put it in a chair for the baby. Yeah. You go to play. You get on your bicycle. You go riding your bicycle. Put on a helmet. You're riding at night time. You put on a protective, so you can be seen at night time, glow in the dark, so you can see you when you're riding your bicycle. Okay. If you're playing football, we put shins pads to protect our shins and our legs from getting kicked from the spikes of the boots. If we're doing boxing, we protect our hands. We wrap our hands. We protect it. Amateur boxer, we put the head guard on. Put a gum shield to protect our mouths. Playing cricket, we have something to protect our groin. A helmet to protect our face from incoming balls. Very important we have protective gear. So if we need protective gear in sport, even in being a mechanic, on a building site, they wear a helmet. When they do drilling, they're wearing goggles. When you walk on certain sites, construction sites, you need to have steel boots, steel cap boots. Can't just walk on there with any trainers. You go on the ice skating ring. You can't go on the ice skating ring just with your trainers. So there's a attire for each and everything that we do. But for somehow, somewhere, in the spiritual realm, we don't need it. Well, that's what many of us are led to believe, but that's a lie. And that's what the armour of God's going to be about. We're going to talk about the helmet, the breastplate, the belt, and the girdle, the shoes, the footwear, the shield, and the sword. We're going to be talking about those things and how important it is to equip you in these days. How to deal with people that are hateful and spiteful. How to deal with what to eat, what not to eat. What to read, what not to read. The gifts of discernment. So we are able to go from from within and discern whether that is good. Is that good food we're eating? Or is that food we should avoid? For example, if you go to the shop and you see a mouldy apple, you're not going to buy that apple, are you? You're going to do one of two things. You may just avoid it and go and pick an apple you like, or you may report it. But you're not going to buy the apple because you can see the apple is mouldy. If you buy something from the shop, it's electric, and it doesn't work, what do? Fix it yourself? Would you take it back and ask for a refund or for an exchange? It's so important that we are aware of weights and measures. When we give $10 out and something costs $5, we expect $5 back. We don't expect the person in customer service to say, okay, here we are, here's $5. Tell you what, I'll keep the $5 for myself because I've worked so hard, I'll take the extra $5. That doesn't happen. Weights and measures. So just in the spiritual realm, we need to have weights and measures. It's all well and good being told, this is what you should do, but how do you do it? And then implementing it in the world so that you can stand in your I am presence. Thank you so much today, and don't forget, we're here for you. This is your home. Ask your questions, and we're more than happy to answer your questions right here.
And now, please stand for prayer.
Infinite One, thank you so much for the wisdom today that you shared through Minister Atiya. That we can go into the world today, but not be of the world. That we can go into the world with your wisdom, with your knowledge and with your understanding. And that wisdom that you've imparted to us today, that we can take that to be a changed man or woman or young person. That instead of doing the same things, expecting different results, that we're going to take a different approach, looking for new opportunities, making new friends, understanding, appreciation and gratitude. Let us be people that are appreciative of life and appreciative of our surroundings. And appreciation doesn't just mean that we appreciate us being treated disrespectfully, or we should be grateful of that. No, we should be grateful that there's a great infinite one that gives us the wisdom to say, hold on, something's not right here. Praise be to the infinite one. Praise be to the infinite one, because we've got the wisdom to say, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't seem right. And then when people come into our lives that bless us, that we are grateful and show gratitude to those good people in our lives. Let us be grateful for even the small things in life. And the people that we may think are insignificant today may be our greatest helpers tomorrow. So go in peace, loving one another, but first and foremost, looking within and loving yourself. Thank you.
So let it be.
So let it be.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft above